Good morning, Sylvie's here. Are any other commissioners on the line yet?
Holzman's here.
Made.
Good
Coleman's
morning,
here.
Commissioners.
Good morning.
Commissioners Holzman. Coleman. Are Commissioner Kinney or Rubon yet?
Group's here.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good. Kenny, sir.
Good morning, Commissioner. That brings us all
Good
to
morning, sir.
attendance. So at 10:15, we will be good to go. All right, it is now 10:15 and all commissioners are in attendance, so we will call the November 18th agenda meeting of the Public Service Commission to order. Due to COVID-19, the commission will continue conducting agendas via WebEx conferencing for the foreseeable future. So I'd ask those that are participating on the call, please mute yourself unless you need to speak. Also, due to a family situation, my circumstances have changed this morning, so I am conducting this meeting as the passenger in a car. So if you hear background noise, that's what's up, and I will mute myself when I'm not speaking to minimize that. First up is the approval of the minutes from November 12th, 2020. You all have seen those. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda minutes from November 12th, 2020, say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Those minutes are approved 5-0. There will be a presentation from Evergy at the end of today's agenda, and I will be pulling the second order from the list. So that leaves us with 8 tariffs and new orders today, 1 brief other discussion, scheduling, and then the presentation from Evergy. So first up, in tariffs and new orders, we have file number GO 2020-0182. This is in the matter of a staff investigation into the customer service and billing record-keeping practices of Spire Missouri Inc., DBA Spire. Last December, staff requested a docket to be opened to investigate the record-keeping and business practices for Spire, which the commission ordered. Since then, staff has completed a very thorough report, which I would like to thank staff for their hard work in both identifying these issues in the report. So this report directs Spire to submit a formal implementation plan showing how it will address some of the concerns brought up by staff, including additional training for call center representatives, the storage of recorded customer calls, ways to improve training for third-party call center reps. And this order also directs Spire to submit status reports showing how things are going with the implementation of these recommendations. So with that, I recommend that we approve the order as drafted version 1. Commissioner Kinney?
I support the order.
Commissioner Roop?
I support the order.
Commissioner Coleman?
I support the order.
And Commissioner Holzman.
I support the order.
All right, all those in favor of approving the order as drafted version 1, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That order is approved 5-0. As I mentioned, file number HT 2020-0223 is being pulled. It does sound like we have some background crosstalk going on. If whoever that is can mute, thank you. Again, so we've pulled file number HT 2020-0223. That brings us to file number WC 2021-0137. This is Caroline Nelson, complainant v. the city filed on November 6th against the City of St. Louis Water Department. This commission does not have any jurisdiction over that department, so this order just denies that. So I recommend that we support this order, version 2. Commissioner
I
Kenny,
support the order.
Commissioner Root,
I support the order as well.
Commissioner
As
Coleman,
do I.
and
I
Commissioner
support the
Holzman.
order.
All right. All those in favor of approving the order as drafted, version 2,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. File number WC 2021-0137 is approved 5-0. Again, I've told I was broken up on the order we pulled. That is HT 2020-0223. Next up is file number WC 2021-01. Nope, I'm sorry. Yes, WC 2021-0139. This is Veroline Nelson complainant v. the City of St. Louis Water Division respondent. Similar to the prior order, this order also dismisses a complaint brought against the City of St. Louis for lack of jurisdiction. So I recommend we approve this order as drafted, version 2. Commissioner Kenny.
I support the order.
Commissioner Roop.
I support the order as well.
Commissioner Coleman.
I support the order.
And Commissioner Holzman.
I support the order.
All right. All those in favor of approving the order as drafted, version 2, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That order is approved 5-0. Also, I just realized I failed to mention, should I drop off, I've asked Commissioner Kinney to continue the agenda until I return so that we don't have any continuity issues there. And I appreciate Commissioner Kinney for doing that, should he need to. All right, next up is file number EU 2021-022-0027 and GU 2021-0112. This is in the matter of the application of Union Electric Company, DBA Ameren, Missouri, for an accounting authority order to record and preserve net costs and revenues related to COVID-19. Ameren Missouri Electric and Ameren Missouri Gas are two separate but affiliated entities. The two companies filed motions to consolidate their applications for accounting authority orders for COVID-related costs. This order denies that motion because these utilities provide two very different types of service, and just like we wouldn't consolidate them into one general rate case, I don't think that consolidating the two AAO requests into one file is appropriate either. So this order is version 1, and I recommend that we approve the order as drafted, version 1. Commissioner Kinney?
I support the order.
Thank you. Commissioner Root?
I support the order as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Coleman?
I support the order.
And Commissioner Holzman?
I support the order.
All right. All those in favor of approving the order as drafted, version 1, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That order is approved 5-0. Next up, file numbers GO 2021-0126. This is in the matter of the application of Spire Missouri Inc., DBA Spire, for approval to establish an on-bill financing program and cost recovery mechanism. Spire filed an application for a new tariffed on-bill financing program and an associated cost recovery mechanism. Staff would like to have until December 14th to file its recommendation, and Public Counsel has also filed an objection to motion to dismiss, or an objection and motion to dismiss. Since Spire filed tariff sheets with a November 29th effective date, this order suspends the tariff sheets and grants staff additional time to file its recommendation. It also sets a deadline for responses to OPC's motion to dismiss, and I recommend that we approve this motion as drafted, version 1. Commissioner Kinney?
I support the order.
Commissioner Root?
I support the order as well.
Commissioner Coleman?
I support the order.
And Commissioner Holzman?
I support the order.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the order as drafted, version 1, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That order is approved 5-0. Next up, file numbers GO 2021-0030 and GO 2021-0031. This is in the matter of the application of Spire Missouri Inc., DBA Spire, to change its infrastructure system replacement surcharge in its Spire Missouri East and West service territories. Last week, we issued an order approving a stipulation and agreement concerning Spire's ISRIS treatment. That order directed Spire to submit new tariff sheets, which the company has done. Those tariff sheets have a December 12th effective date, but Spire requested the tariff sheets be allowed to go into effect earlier. Staff reviewed the tariff sheets and found that they do comply with last week's commission order approving the stipulation and agreement. To allow this order to have at least 10 days before going into effect, this order grants the request for expedited treatment by allowing the tariff sheets to go into effect on November 28th. I recommend we support this order as drafted version 2. Commissioner Kinney.
I support the order.
Commissioner Roop.
I support the order as well.
Commissioner Coleman.
I support the order.
And Commissioner Holzman.
I support the order.
All right, all those in favor of approving the order as drafted version 2 say aye.
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 That order is approved 5-0. Next up, file number EE 2021-0103. This is in the matter of Union Electric Company, DBA Ameren Missouri's request for a temporary waiver of various tariffs and commission order to delay implementation of certain time of use rates and related communication tools for residential customers, a permanent waiver of various requirements to cease printing, beginning and ending readings on all residential customer bills, for a waiver of 60-day notice requirement, and for expedited treatment. It's a mouthful. So, Ameren Missouri has requested variances and waivers from some of the commission rules and parts of the agreement in its last rate case concerning time of use rates. The company has experienced some difficulties with the transition to the TOU rates and the rollout of its AMI meters. So, among other things, the company is requesting a 5-month delay in transferring customers to the TOU rates, including the default daytime overnight default rate plan. The delay would impact residential customers who had AMI meters installed between July and November of this year. I absolutely support the transition to TOU rates, but I also realize that utilities need to be able to ensure the integrity of their billing systems and also need to ensure proper training and communication with customers. Staff stated that it does not oppose the application, but has concerns that the TOU and AMI rollout programs and with the educational efforts. So I agree with staff and would be open to Ameren coming to the commission in a few months to give us an update on the transition to TOU rates and customer education if possible. So I support this order granting the various waivers and variances. Would like to see this transition occur as quickly and smoothly as possible, but I do recommend that we support this order as drafted version 2. Commissioner Kinney.
I support the order.
Commissioner Roop.
Yeah, I support the order too. I don't like the delay, but if you mess up the rollout of TOU rates, it has lasting implications to adoptivity. And so I am pleased that the company's taking this seriously and wants to make sure that their rollout is seamless and stuff. And so that's why I'll be supporting the order.
Excellent point, Commissioner. With the long-lasting effects of a possible bundled rollout. Commissioner Coleman.
Yes, I agree completely with yours and Commissioner Roop's statements. I support the order.
And Commissioner Holzman.
I echo Commissioner Root's statements. I support the order.
Excellent. All those in favor of approving the order as drafted version 2 say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That order is approved 5-0. And finally today, file number EO 2021-0098. This is in the matter of the Empire District Electric Company, DBA Liberty Empire fuel adjustment clause. So Liberty Empire has requested approval of a true-up amounts for its FAC adjustment. The true-up is for its 22 recovery period of December 2019 through May of 2020, in which the company reports an over collection. Staff reviewed the testimony and schedules provided by Empire, as well as monthly interest calculations, and recommended that the true-up filing be approved. No other responses were received, and I support this order as drafted version 1. Commissioner Kinney?
I support the order.
Commissioner Root?
I support the order as well.
Commissioner Coleman?
I support the order.
You and Commissioner Holzman?
I support the order.
All right. All those in favor of approving the order as drafted version 1 say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That order is approved 5-0. That concludes reports and orders today. Next up is the other discussion regarding publications for Judge Woodruff. Judge?
Yes, this is Judge Woodruff here. These are the orders from July, August, and September of 2019 that I recommend to be published. If you have any changes or any additional orders that you wish to see published, let me know. We can add those on. We usually just get a vote to approve the publication list.
All right. Commissioners, you all have seen that list. Are there any corrections or inclusions that any commissioner would like to see in that list? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the list for July, August, and September of 2019. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving that list for publication say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That motion is approved 5-0. All right. As I mentioned, we do have a presentation today, but before we get to that, let's cover upcoming scheduling. Friday, November 20th, evidentiary hearing in WO 2020-0410. That's Missouri American Water's petition for approval to change in ISRIS. That's via WebEx at 9:15. Judge Jacobs presiding. Tuesday, November 24th, we have an agenda at 9:30 a.m. Thursday, November 26th is Thanksgiving. Wednesday, December 2nd, we have agenda at 10:15 a.m. Thursday, December 3rd, we have a rulemaking in MX 2020-0357. This is a request for a waiver from Commission Rule 20 CSR 4240-125.040, sub 1, sub C. That is via WebEx at 10 a.m. with Judge DePel. Friday, December 4th, we have an evidentiary hearing in GC 2020-0201. That is Scott v. Spire via WebEx at 9:15 a.m. Judge Jacobs presiding. Wednesday, December 9th, agenda at 10:15 a.m. Wednesday, December 16th, agenda at 10:15 a.m. Thursday, December 17th, we have an agenda here, or an evidentiary hearing in WR 2020-0275. This is Elm Hills Utility Operating Company, Inc.'s request for a water and sewer rate increase. That will be via WebEx at 9 a.m. with Judge Hatcher presiding. And Wednesday, December 23rd, agenda at 10:15 a.m. That gets us out through December 23rd. Any additions, corrections, or requests regarding scheduling between now and then? All right, hearing none, that brings us to the presentation this morning. This is Evergy on transportation electrification. So I believe Darren Ives, you're here to kick that off.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. This is Darren Ives. I'm the Vice President of Regulatory Affairs for Evergy. Thank you, Chairman Sylvie and Commissioners, for the chance to speak with you today. In way of introductions, I have with me on the WebEx today Kim Winslow, who is our Senior Director of Energy Solutions, Nick Voris, who is our Senior Manager, Products and Services, focused on electrification, and a couple other members of Evergy's team. Nick will take us through our short presentation here in a minute, and the others will be available to answer any of the hard questions that I might not be able to answer. Commissioners, as you know, we were early into transportation electrification with our Clean Charge Network, and we continue to be active and engaged in electrification opportunities. I do want to share before Nick starts the presentation that our presentation today is necessarily a high-level overview. As you'll hear, we do intend to file an electrification filing in the first quarter of next year, but we wanted to share with you what we've been doing and our perspective on electrification, being cognizant of any potential ex parte issues. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nick Voris and have him take you through the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. This is Nick, and I am hopefully sharing the presentation now. Please let me know if that is not the case. Thank you for the opportunity to talk today about transportation electrification at Evergy. And as Darren said, we won't be talking about the specifics of the filing that we envision for the first quarter of next year, but we would like to give a little bit of detail on the context surrounding this filing. Specifically, we'll be talking about just electrification in general and then the historical activities that Evergy has engaged with in terms of electrification. And we'll talk about some of the logistical issues surrounding the filing. This crowd certainly is familiar with Evergy, so I won't belabor the point here, but I would just point out the last bullet on this slide, which highlights the fact that at this point, almost half of the energy delivered by Evergy in a given year comes from emission-free sources. And we think that that is a big part of the electrification story going forward. When we think about electrification at Evergy, we view it as an opportunity to really advance the guiding principles that are shown on the bottom right of this slide, with the clean community benefits and engagement, empowerment, and of course, cost-effective solutions. We think that that combined with our access to renewable generation by virtue of where we are situated in space is just a really powerful narrative. Before going too much deeper into this deck, though, we want to make sure that everybody's operating from a common definition. And when we at Evergy think about electrification, we've over time kind of defaulted to this definition of beneficial electrification that was put forth by the Regulatory Assistance Project a couple of years ago. And that definition said that in order for electrification to be considered beneficial, it either needs to save consumers money, it either needs to help the grid, or it needs to reduce negative environmental impacts. It needs to do at least one of those three without negatively affecting the other two. So when we mention electrification, that is the framework from which we are speaking. To try to get our arms wrapped around electrification, we had a study performed earlier this year in our service territory. And it was what I like to call a magic wand study that said, if we could electrify everything in our service territory that is electrifiable either by current technology or by expected future technology, what would that mean? And the result is that, or the forecast from that study is that it would over double the retail load for Evergy. So, of course, this is a multi-decade process, but I think that that number just really shines a bright light on the challenges and the opportunities that are ahead of not only Evergy, but really a wide range of stakeholders. Specific to transportation electrification, we see a number of things going on. We see that year after year, EV technology is only getting better. It's only getting more affordable. That compounds with the fact that our grid is also decarbonizing, which makes, in particular, the environmental story associated with transportation electrification that much more potent. Automakers making the switch. I mean, we saw Ford a couple of years ago announce, I think it was 14 some odd billion dollars worth of CapEx investment by 2022. More recently, they've announced $100 million worth of investment in the Kansas City area to make an electric van in Kansas City. So we see the automakers going increasingly all in to make the switch. We see various state and federal policies coming into play that can help tilt the economics for transportation electrification. And then also hearkening back to that pie chart, we saw that transportation electrification is a big chunk of that total potential in our service territory. I'll pause here to see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
Questions from the commission? All right, please proceed.
Focusing now on Evergy's previous activities related to transportation electrification, we have the Clean Charge Network, over 1,000 stations, and that was commissioned in 2015. We think it's done a great job of alleviating range anxiety and just helps Kansas City be that much cooler, if you will, of a place to work. Also, having a public charge network is only part of the story, right? You also there's other ways that we are helping our customers in their electrification pursuits. We've have partnerships with the transit authorities in our service territory. Of course, time of use rates are the engine, or maybe I should say the motor that drives electrification, and we've been active in that area. And we've also been recognized in the industry for our marketing and outreach for our customer education, which we know is just so vital, such a vital component of this program. That being said, I will take a turn towards our filing and just explain a little bit of the logistics and the timeline associated with the electrification filing that we envision in the first quarter of next year. We are amidst a rather expansive, I would call it, stakeholder engagement process that is taking place from this month through maybe as late as mid-January, and I'll go into that more on the next slide. Currently, we expect to be ready to file early in February, let's call it first half of February of next year, hoping to be in a position to launch programs by year end. Focusing specifically on our external stakeholder engagement process, we had what I would call phase one communications with the commission staffs in both Kansas and Missouri earlier this month. We subsequently met with the likely interveners for this filing along with staff in Missouri last week. We expect to have a similar session in Kansas on the 19th, which, if my watch doesn't fail me, is tomorrow. And then phase three of our external stakeholder engagement process will be a deeper dive into the expected filing scope, and that's going to happen towards the end of January, probably more likely towards the end of December, but probably more likely into January because of holidays and just a lot of other moving parts that are happening there in the second half of January. It's probably going to scoot us out into the, did I say January again? Doggone it. The second half of December, probably going to scoot us into the first part of January. That is all I have for us today, so I would again pause for questions or otherwise turn the floor over to the moderator.
All right, thank you. Always appreciate the information that you guys provide and keeping us up to speed on this. Are there any questions from any of the commissioners? Does not sound like there are any questions. So again, thank you for the presentation. Always appreciated. With that,
Thank you, commissioners.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that,
Good presentation.
Thank you.
we have concluded all of our business for today. So with no other business coming before the body, we will stand adjourned. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.